get upset with me. So prevention is always huge. Anyway, so snack in the afternoon, our lunch staff takes care of that and leaves it in the cooler for us, and then the kids get their milk out of the cooler. And that all is included in their daycare fee.
The milk too.
The milk too, yes. I almost wish that our lunch lady was here because there are some hoops she jumps through to get discounted costs for milk and all that. But but for us, the children for preschool portion in the morning, they're paying for their milk and they're providing snack for their friends every now and again. Okay. Yes?
Do you have outdoor time every day?
We try to have outdoor time every day. The daycare has outdoor time every day. And if the weather prohibits it, then they go in the gym. So they have somewhere to run around and get all, get the stink blown off them, For preschool, we try, but, we only have them for 3 hours. So I usually, I really, getting outdoors is very important. If we can teach them outdoors, and I want to lean towards doing more of that, I used to do that with my afternoon class when I only had 12 kids on my own. I would take them outside with a big blanket, and we would take clipboards, and we would go out and observe nature, or we would just do our lesson out there on clipboards, okay? So there are ways to do it, and I need to start doing it more. This process has been really good for me to kind of revisit what I used to do and what I need to start doing again. But getting kids out in nature is really important. We'll talk about that some more today too. So if you can get them outside, yes, do it. You may even want to do it in the middle of the day if you can, in the middle of your 3 hours or whatever, just to get some energy out and then bring them on back in.
That's what we do. So
Yeah.
we usually come down for snack around 9 o'clock. And, 12 3-year-olds eating snack, that's a good half hour.
Right.
Because you'll never, I'm like, they'll eat like Cheerios one by one. It's like, seriously, just, go like that. And then we're very lucky. We have a very small playground right outside the windows here. And so while we're on the same floor, we'll just go out to snack for maybe like 5-10 minutes, or out to the recess for 5-10 minutes. And then when we come in and we come back, and then we're all going to sit on the rug and do something as a group. They've kind of, moved around a little bit. They're maybe ready to kind of sit for a little bit. And it speeds up snack because it's like, okay, well, my friends that are done, they can go outside with Miss Carrie. I'll stay here with you that are still eating. And then they're like, oh, well. And then that kind of speeds it up a little bit. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Any other questions on schedules? When you guys look at those schedules, if you have more questions, please let us know.
And this is a perfect world schedule.
Yes.
Oh
yes.
This doesn't.
I used to have a disclaimer on the bottom.
Along like anybody who followed our schedule from yesterday and saw how off we got.
Yeah.
That's. I mean.
But we still achieved everything we meant to achieve.
Exactly. That's the end result.
Yes. Yeah. The end result.
Who does the extended care? Like you have other.
Katie Elsasser is the director of our daycare program / it's called extended care now for preschool. Yes, so she's the lady on that. It used to be me.
But then is she also K through 8?
She's not really the director of K through 8, but she kind of takes it all.
Yeah, she doesn't have the title.
Yeah, poor thing. I used to be the director of the preschool daycare, and the K through 8 extended care all at the same time. Plus, I taught full time preschool.
So, is there K through 8 morning extended care?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
But do they come down here too?
Yeah, they're all here because there aren't a lot of them. So we'll have like Mrs. Brandon, who was here yesterday. She'll be here in the morning, and then start greeting people and have them come in. And then we'll have someone else from like preschool age come in. So we'll have 2 people down here. Jamie's going to be doing it this year.
Yeah.
So
that'll
then
be Jamie.
when school is over, I'm just going to call Miss Katie. Does Miss Katie take her daycare kids down here for extended care?
We all kind of.
So we have we have a specific daycare lady.
Okay.
We'll call her name is Suharnik.
Okay.
She comes in at 11 o'clock. Yes, she is. Yeah. Are you familiar with her?
No.
Oh,
just
yeah, she is. I would have
been.
been. Yeah. Oh, I'm like.
Spices.
Oh, I'm like. No, she's. But she comes in at 11, and then she stays till sometimes 5:30
or 6 if she
or
has
6
to.
if she has to.
Yeah.
And then she'll keep the daycare kids up in the daycare room through
And
like
that's
dismissal. Yes.
Yes.
What does she do?
And then.
Oh, if you saw our staff schedules.
Where's
Because
that?
to keep it in ratio.
At 11?
At 3.
It depends on the day.
So Mrs. McCormick goes into daycare at 11. She comes down, she helps take the kids to lunch. And then with Katie or with Mrs. Wamaka, there's a lot of us, she comes in to help us so we all can get a lunch. Yeah, we're like these moving parts. It's crazy.
Yes.
We all
How do you
go.
figure that
Our schedules are insane.
Are you in charge of scheduling?
Katie and I do it together now. I used to do it, but now that she's the director of daycare, we have to kind of sit down together, which sometimes makes it more complicated.
Yes.
But we put our heads together, and then we create a schedule for all the teachers, and then we make sure, which we still have to type up, finalize, so they know exactly where they're supposed to be at what time. We, like I said, it's a very well-oiled machine,
Yes.
but there's a lot of intricacies in there. I mean, it's, yeah.
Well,
When it comes down to knowing how to pay us, it's very tricky for the consortium
Yeah, she's
office,
in daycare.
because we have to clock in and out of different areas.
Do you?
Yes.
What do you usually clock in now?
It's on our computer, and I don't know that it's something that they set up through the consortium. We can ask Donna.
I go to.
Maybe I can address your question. Yeah.
So like when you have either before school or after school, or you have such a diverse age group of kids, what activities do you do?
Okay. We split, so the question over here is, since we have a diverse age group, we've got the little guys who are coming from daycare to go to the daycare extended care after school. And then we've got K through 8 extended care as well. We used to kind of have them together. And then when I became the director of that stuff, I went, no.
Yeah.
And we split them up. And so really what that looks like is we've just done a really good job of scheduling when the big kids, the K through 8, are upstairs having gym time right after school so they can get some steam, you know. We have the daycare kids, the littler guys, still in the daycare room doing other things. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, when they're up in gym, we bring our little kids down and we have our snack. And by the time that, I'm saying it is a very well-oiled machine. So by the time that our little daycare kids are finishing up, the K through 8 is getting done with their gym time, and they come down and have their snack as we exit. So it's not very often that we're together at the same time. We really keep them split for the most part, because it honestly can get a little bit dangerous with the bigger kids with all the balls and the, all the craziness, let's say, in the gym. So we try to alternate where we are. So we pass each other and they get to wave to their brother or sister, but we're not usually together.
Okay, so you do like K through 8, all like, and so after snack, what do you do? And do they work?
With our preschoolers?
No,
Or K through 8? Okay, are you gonna be working through?
I do the after school program.
Okay,
For 4
okay.
years.
All right, so the K through 8 kids after that, Annie's usually down here with them. I kind of exited that program a couple years ago, but some kids do homework. I think right after snack, they have sort of like a quiet reading time, like a book time to settle in, and homework. So you can be doing either thing in 2 different areas. And then after that, I think, depending on the weather, they take them outside and they have them play outside. If they're stuck inside, they have different activities on the table that they can do, things they can work on. So, but they do initially, before they have snack, they have quite a bit of time in the gym. Do you have a gym at all?
It's being used for sports.
Okay, that was a problem for us. And when I became the director of extended care, I said, we have to have time for our kids. You guys, I'm so sorry, but you can start your sports at this time. But we need at least this amount of time after school. And we fought for it, right?
Yeah,
So we needed it.
Mine starts at
We needed it.
We can start practicing.
Yes, so our kids, our K through 8 kids get the gym from 3:10 until 4 o'clock to get some activity going before they come down to snack. You just have, sometimes you just have to fight for it. You have to, nicely, very nicely, but you've got to
We
fight
just
for
don't
it.
have the numbers to do it. And we have like 24 kids in our school total.
But it's,
You know what I mean?
but it's still worth it. The person who was the director, not the one before me, but the one before that, people called her Fraulein somebody or other, I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know. That was before me.
She,
But I could tell I
were
liked
you
her.
here? Okay, she was amazing. She was amazing because she kind of scared me a little bit. The kids loved her. She was one of those people that was firm, and you're not going to cross this line, but everything's going to be good. We're all going to be fine. She wouldn't let people come in this door. This was her territory. Don't walk in here unless you have a very good reason. I opened that door once. And the look she looked straight up, and it was that, who are you and what are you doing here? because these are my kids. I mean, anyway, and she had it, and she had signs on the door. This is extended care until this time. She did the same thing with the gym. Sometimes you just have to, and it doesn't matter how many kids you have. She didn't have a ton. It doesn't matter how many you have. Sometimes you have to say, these guys are important too, and they really have this need. And I know you guys have this need, but we need to share. It's all about sharing. Give it a shot. I don't know. We might be able to work something out. So, okay. All right.
What do you do with it, like your extended time or after school? Stop at 5:30 when you have a parent that comes like, is somebody really, charge you?
Yep,
We do.
I do the billing.
Yep.
It's $8 after 5 o'clock. And if you're after 6 o'clock, it's $20 every 15 minutes.
Which is actually not as severe as a daycare that you just go to out and about. We kind of think sometimes like, oh my gosh, that's not a lot. We shouldn't do that. There's a reason that they started doing it near the daycare facilities. And we were not as strict, but yeah.
But the loophole is we had smart parents this year who figured out that if it was after 5 o'clock and they were going to get billed for that $8,
Yes.
they went to the store.
Yeah.
They went, sat in their
We
car,
paid anyway.
played up, and then they came and got their kids at like 10 till. But they paid the $8. And I mean, and if I was working and I already had, I'd go to the store without my child. Are you kidding? That's great.
Yeah.
Who wants to take a small child to the store? That's only worth $8. So, but no, so Mrs. McCormick is our afternoon daycare lady. So, and the nice thing is with the checks and balances, I do the billing, but she would keep track of that. So they don't ever see me. And if the parent signs in after 5 o'clock, she would just put a star next to it. So then when I do the billing, the way we have it set up, it's the flat fee for the week. And then I have a line there for additional hours. We just add it in. And then and we've never had any complaints.
Do you have them pay every week for the after school program, or do you do it like once?
You know, they're doing something new this year. And new this year for the K through 8 extended care, they're gonna have to prepay. Okay.
You have an account.
Yep.
And it gets taken out of it, just like a electrical.
Yep. But for daycare, we give them an invoice on Thursday for that week ending Friday. And then they're expected to have paid that by that coming Tuesday. It doesn't always work out. But like you can kind of figure out who gets paid once a month, who gets paid once a week. You know what I mean? And eventually, and we've really not had a problem with, I mean, we get some accounts that get high, but I'd say the majority of it is working out. I would love for it to go automatically. So then we wouldn't even have to do that.
They pick them up at different times. They wanted us to have them pay it every Friday, but we total it up each day, and then when they come, you can't put Fridays on there because we don't know what time to pick them
If
up
you go
Friday.
See, then I always throw it on the next one.
If you go to a contract, like we started with daycare, because like I said, we couldn't afford to keep our daycare open with the way we were doing it. So we went to a contract and we said, this is your fee every week that you're agreeing to, whether or not you decide to have your child spend the day with grandma or not. I'm sorry.
Well, we do that. We do the monthly contract.
Okay, so, but they're getting a bill for that. See, if you were to switch extended care to that too, is what I'm saying. We haven't done that either, which would be actually really nice if we did it. Just set a contract and that way it's a flat rate, like what you guys are doing. And then if someone comes late, you add the extra charges on for the next week for their bill, because, you know, yeah.
We're trying to decide, like, our tuition is so expensive that we're doing like $155 part-time and $315 for full-time. And it's like under $1 an hour rate for figuring.
Well, they're very lucky families.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's getting changed.
Yes, yeah. Well, you have to be able to stay open. And that's, yeah, whenever you make a change like that, it's unfortunate, but telling the parents, we want to stay open and be able to still be here for you. And unfortunately, this is the only way we can do it. So, you know. I had no idea that people would have so many questions about schedules. So, yeah.
It's 10 o'clock.
Yes, yeah, it's getting late. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll move on to fine motor skills, somebody?
Can we take a break?
Do you need a break?
Yes, I need to stand up.
Okay, if you guys would like to, let's just do a 5-minute break this
Okay.
time though, if that's
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
All right, that's good, and I'll go grab a couple things.
Oh, yeah.
I know the first half of the year.
Oh, ice cream. Ice cream. Oh, yeah, no, it's ice cream. No, I just never. Yeah, when my son was trying to get through, they give you instructions on how to make like
Because they're
all of this stuff for like in a class, and that's what she wanted to do. Just like figure out. So because if you're up there in front of us, that's the thing that they put underneath your, you know what I mean? But it's like it's super cute, but they get tons of ideas from like this year. Halloween is Monday. We actually get to do that. This is like a fluke because every 4 years we get to bring 3-year-olds on. So, but then. Elsa, yeah. Yeah, one boy. I got like when it comes to like the girl stuff, the girls will come at me and they're like, "You know, we never have a picture for it." I'll sit on the train track
There's a friend of mine who's not there. She's 68 and she's talked to. I started 11 years ago.
We had more than that much.
And she's still married. Apparently, she actually had
That's what
she got her 20s. And and so she said she tried this book, and she contacted me. It turned out somebody stole it. It was like a very similar version. Because you guys, when I was there, nobody has a lost home.
Can you tell me a little bit about your angel program over here?
So what it is, it's a club for kindergarten through
And I didn't like it.
fifth grade. It's kind of a when you join the club, you get so on Fridays we have this winter 2:45. You have to have your wheels. Unfortunately, you can get registration.
We have to wear that day.
Yeah, but they like kindergarten are on there. It's and then, so it's, you know, are the rules listed out there? There used to be.
There might be.
But it's just kind of like, series chapel.
I saw it.
You probably should get me.
I had to get you so anyway, I broke my leg. And everybody used I bought a lot of stuff because I didn't care. They would let all these girls from the other
Yeah.
and I wore from 6th grade to 15. By the time I started, and I got the evidence 2 days later, I took extra money and take my kids. Like, so when I saw the papers, they're calling me at home. They're calling me first at the hospital. And they're saying, how do we get your stuff? Get our stuff out. Why was it? Because everything was there was junk. Yeah, it was because it's old. Yeah, give yourself a right. So if someone wants to, you can find out and say,
I was pretty far gone.
That's what she was talking
kids were doing Okay. I know there were 16 cameras. 24 cameras. And watching everything. The secretary has them all.
Give me a chance, I forgot my better.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I agree. Yeah. The other thing I heard, some schools that I was talking to, they have like. Okay, I have a question. You were talking about the and then like, I don't know, kids can travel so often.
We don't keep track of it. We have a parent who lives next door from us, who's very, very good.
That's what I just see me running everywhere.
And I'm like,
Sarah's
all night. I don't. But she'll, it's a kid, because sometimes you can't afford to do all care. So here's and so, and she, because we don't have time. Okay, so you just stand there. So you know what they do? They make them walk laps around this class, or you open the gym. And you walk, and you just continuously walk laps around the gym. Because that maybe you might be.
But you're getting the board system, like, I think after they got to like 100 laps and they got to.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, no.
Who's our access to those
Yeah.
kids? Your kids are start, oh, yeah, I want to, yeah.
Okay, so that's
Oh, yeah. Joyce said, no, we've never offered it. It was just, oh, you're here, the afternoon section. And then at 10.
But I don't want to see.
in the back there.
You know what I mean?
They're just watching with their friends.
I think it's great, I just I just thought it was important. I was there like, no, I'm just gonna sit out
The only
there.
thing is,
So checking for the backs of these sections, it might have been social.
and just give everybody a next card.
You could just do that now.
And every time they walk by. Yeah, I didn't want to do that.
Those could be,
I mean,
You know, or just
like good in the morning.
you know, or kind of like participate in this hour.
This is actually.
I just thought it would be.
and the offerings change.
I was not.
So like, if it's any smaller than the guys that have starting that,
So anyway, so my kids like.
well, they don't have this one that I want. Yeah, but
So this was.
So I would have, you know,
No,
yeah.
yes. I actually put on.
Yeah, I try to be there, and then I get parents.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and you know what, and very happy, I just love that. And then eventually after. I am.
We didn't find out. So I was like, yes, we have everything ready to go, you know?
You know what? Oh yeah. Oh no, believe me. Grandma was looking to release one, but it was yeah. But you know, again, you know, there you go. I'm very good. They're very good. So I'm lucky that I have
Me neither.
All right, I was just curious.
There's lots of things, so if you can find the resources you want, then I will get you Jennifer Hager's contact information, but she will find anything.
Our friends already, whatever.
Yeah. Hi. But I don't want to do it. Yes, exactly.
We're all learning.
No, if you don't see the windows, contact me and I'll put it in. Where's my bell? Did I not bring my bell now? I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna do it. Do any of you guys use that in school as a redirection? Yeah. Yes. Because it's usually really effective. I forgot my bell. So I said, everybody. And the kids were just like, I'm sure it does. Yes. Okay. All right. So choosing teaching tools and learning toys. We hit on that just a little bit yesterday. And I guess there are just a few things that there's not a lot we really need to say. Because I think it's more important that you get your hands on some of the stuff in the classroom. Because when you go to a store, you don't always get to check it out. And between our 3 rooms, we actually have quite a few things in there that you can check out before buying. I know some of you went shopping already last night, but just in case you were thinking about something else. The other piece about that is like a store like Lakeshore. I don't know about the other ones for sure, but at Lakeshore, he told me when I went in one day, because he knew that I was like buying in for a program and that I was sending more people in probably. He said, hey, if you want me to open anything up so that you can feel it, see if it's sturdy, if you want me to open anything, let me know. So don't be afraid when you go into a learning store to ask them, can we open one of these up? Would that be okay? You may have some stores who are like, oh no, I'm so sorry. Like maybe a smaller one, whatever, but really, I know he will at Lakeshore for sure. So, because I don't want to waste my money. I don't get a lot of it. I baked, basically fought for $200 a year per classroom. And I asked for that to please be put in the budget. And I talked to some of you yesterday in my room, but I didn't get to talk to everybody about that because someone said, well, what kind of funding do you have for this? You know, what kind of budget do you have? How are you paying for this stuff? And it's not easy. We, first of all, as far as our classroom supplies that we're budgeted for, I keep track, of course, of what we ordered the year before and whether or not we ran out or whether or not we had too much. And so that when I go to order again for the next year, I know what I need and how much I'm going to spend. But I always try to stay in that same budget unless my program grew. You have to allow for that. But so that's things like my construction paper and my paint if I need to replenish it, googly eyes and chenille stems, tacky glue, pom-poms, you know, all that
Trying
good
to think
stuff.
what was on my list. Double-sided tape,
Yeah, double-sided tape and staples.
like goofy stuff.
Yes.
thought you mentioned you have students bring in.
Yeah, then they
Yes.
bring,
What do you have them bring?
okay, so do you have that on here?
If you
Our
go to
supply list?
stmbangles.org,
Okay.
go down to, oh, okay. If you go into
Okay.
stmbangles.org, you can click on preschool. And then once you're into preschool, you can click on our registration forms, you can click on our handbook, you can click on our supply list, okay?
But-
So,
So for our supply, so like for the threes, we have them bring a watercolor, a box of crayons, a box of Kleenex, school glue, glue sticks,
paper towels.
paper towels, baby wipes, disinfectant wipes, so we can wipe down the toys and stuff. It's something else, but then they don't put names on it. So then what we do is we just take all that stuff and put it in the closet, and then we give everybody fresh crayons, and then when they're all done, you give them all new crayons. And that's like the most exciting day ever, because they come in and the crayons have points, and they're all
Yes.
excited. It's like
Yeah.
fresh crayons.
Yeah.
And so even though we have them bring supplies, it's not like we keep track of whose is what.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So we send them a supply list and they provide for some of the things. I also put a little wish list on my supply list because every year somebody comes in and says, what do you need? What else can I get for you? And so on my supply list, I say, every year someone asks me if there's anything that we need. So if you'd like to donate something,
Yep.
and I just put things like, I put stuff for making Play-Doh. Because we make Play-Doh every month, changing with the color of the month, and it gets a little expensive.
Yeah, the cream
Cream of tartar.
is expensive.
That needs to go on your wish list for people.
Don't make it without, I tried.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, okay.
Sticky
So, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So if you're gonna do it right. And don't be afraid to ask, because we have a lady who every year now, she walks in, she doesn't even have any preschool.
No.
Oh, she's gonna have a grandkid again this year
Oh, okay.
in there. But she brings in like a thing of cream of tartar, like a bunch of packets, and I disperse it through classes. So she's got us, but glitter, ribbon.
Yeah, glitter, ribbon, yarn.
Ribbon sitting around the house, whatever. you know?
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be new.
No, it doesn't have
Just
to be
anything,
anything. Stickers, whatever.
Yep.
And the parents,
They
most
like
of
to
them
give you
like
stuff.
to do it. And the kids are so proud when they bring in their bag of stuff. So, so don't be afraid to ask. And then, so otherwise though, as far as this, so we have our basic supplies that, the office always expected us to do. And then one year I said, my toys are all getting really beat up. We've been here for, however many years now, and our stuff's getting beat up. And you want your classroom to look nice when parents come in, because they're going to talk about that too. I mean, there's a lot of things that matter. So anyway, and you want them to have the right learning tools, because they're going to be using them constantly. So I just said, if I could please get $200 a year for toy replacement, is how I phrased it, so that I can replace those toys that are getting beat up from all these hands coming through every year. And so for replacement costs, and then I made sure that in my request, I said, these are our textbooks. Because they are. Everybody else gets textbooks for their classrooms. Well, I don't need a textbook. This is what I need. This is how my children learn. Well, when you get that $200, you might go, wow, that's awesome. Just a cash register is going to cost you $35 to $40. Okay? So choose wisely. Choose very carefully. Ask them, can we open this? Hey, what kind of reviews have you gotten on this? Be careful. And because you want that to last, I have toys that I've had in there easily for 10 years now that are still looking good and functioning because we pick carefully. Yes. Oh, you do? Awesome. Yeah. Wow. If you guys, some of you I know didn't hear that. So we have a part-time Lakeshore employee in our presence. And she said that if something breaks, they will take care of it for you. She had a couple buckets even that got cracked, and she took them back and they replaced them. So, all right. I wasn't advertising for Lakeshore yesterday, but I have had excellent luck with them. So, okay, well, good to know. Thank you.
I have a question about
Yes.
textbooks, because we now have textbooks, but we do have a religion curriculum.
Sure.
Like a book.
Sure.
Have anything like that that you use? Or
Uh-huh. We're going to talk about religion at the end of the day.
I'm just curious. I mean, that's
So-
the only book they gave me when I started.
Okay.
Here's a religion series. Like
Yes.
That's it.
Yes, okay. We will be talking about religion at the end, so I will wait on that one only because, but I absolutely, that's a very important topic. So, and I will
Okay.
touch on that
I'm
for
just
sure.
curious.
Yeah, no. Okay, so when you're purchasing those toys, make sure that they are very durable. Make sure that they're engaging, okay? Because I have toys in my centers that are staple toys that I don't move out. Sometimes I don't get out of here till late at night, depending on what's going on. And unfortunately, I don't have time to go through my closets and dig stuff out. And so I've gotten really strategic about making sure that I always have some staple toys that stay in there actually all year long. And I don't have myself on a schedule anymore for changing toys. If you have time and you can do that, do it, because otherwise it can get pretty bad. But what I found works best for me is to watch the kids. When I see that kids are starting to act out in a center and they're using the toy incorrectly, that tells me that they're either bored with the entire center and I need to change it out, or it tells me, like the dramatic play center, you know, when they start fishing each other instead of, you know, whatever, you know, instead of the camping center being for camping anymore, and they're getting really creative, it means that they're really bored with what's happening there. So you change out the whole thing if you need to, but there are some things that you're going to notice that the kids are using every single day. And I have toys that have been out and just cleaned for 10 years because it's something that they use every day. And I'll point some of those toys out when we're in the classroom, and I'll hopefully be able to tell you where to get them. I was trying to find one of them that's my favorite. I couldn't even find it. I was looking up the name of it. You know those magnetic blocks that Nathan likes, that Nate likes?
Where you make the shape?
Yeah.
Yeah, my 12-year-old can play with my toy.
Well, because they're for 0 to, you know.
Take them home for Christmas break so they can play with them and
Yeah.
bring them back after.
Yeah, but
So-
then you could take the white.
So anyway, so be strategic and get things that you feel like that are, well, they're multiple use toys. So like I have some magnetic type things where the kids at first just kind of go, wow, look, that sticks together, and they do all kinds of cool stuff and they check it out and their brains, you know, going. And then later on they decide that, well, I'm kind of bored with that piece of it, but wow, these would be a really great zoo. And so you stick some animals in that center, because then they're going to start making a zoo and cages and things where they're going to turn into a house. All you have to do is throw some people in the center now, take out the animals, throw in some people, and now this base toy has become a house. And so just buying things that they can use for multiple purposes. So, and then that way you don't have to change out as many things in your center unless you see them getting bored with something, and change it out. Okay, constructive toys. One year I kind of did a lot of reading on constructivism, and it's just one of those philosophies of teaching, I guess you'd call it that. And it's just all about providing the children with things that they can use to make them think. And a teacher guides, but the teacher doesn't ever talk about like the end results. They don't. Again, this is one of those things that I pulled from. I didn't say my classroom is going to be strictly constructivism, but I love the theory. I really love it. So I pulled some of that. If you have constructive toys in each of your centers, if possible, it goes a long way and it gets them thinking. So those things where they're putting things together, like even in the literacy center, I'm trying to think of something constructive that we have in there. I'm gonna think about that one. I think all of the rest of my centers have something that's constructive like that. It doesn't, when you think of constructive, you kind of might just think about like your blocks center and things that might go there for your motor skills, but it's not. It's anything that's really engaging your brain. A lot of those new STEM toys are constructive type toys.
I think another word that I like to use is open-ended.
Yes.
Because it's not this way.
Exactly. Right. What can I do with this? And don't even tell them what they can do with it. Put it out there. There are some toys like games and things that you need to kind of give them an overview on before you get the new thing out. Or maybe you have some rules about the toy. Like obviously this is something that's never going to go in your mouth. That's just a basic rule. Or this is, you're never going to do this, unfortunately, because this could break easily. But you can do anything else you want with it.
I think you get like for constructive for literacy, get like your little fairy tale characters, because I know they're very
Yes,
And,
True.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because then you can use storytelling.
absolutely. And another thing that just triggered for me, one of the toys that I have out in my center a lot, and this is good stuff for kindergarten too. It makes me sad when I go into a kindergarten room and I don't see the toys on the shelves, because the kids can't just sit with a pencil all day, right? So, they've got to have those things, especially when we talked yesterday about differentiated instruction. I was thinking about those higher learners that we didn't really get to address. When you have a student who they completed their task, and maybe it was the harder worksheet that you gave them and they're done. Well, what if you had, this has always been like my kind of dream thing, if I could get some kindergarten teachers to listen to it. And some of you probably already have it, but what if you had a little table in the corner of the room that had some quiet toys, if that's possible, but things that they can either quietly build with, or even if it's something like Rush Hour, or it's just something manipulative that they can build with to keep their mind going, something that they can work on with their hands is kind of a break from just going like this. I mean, when they're done with their work, do they have to sit there and just look at a book? They can sometimes. But couldn't they have an activity they could do over to the side? That might even encourage some of the other kids to go, maybe I'm not putting in my full effort. Maybe I do want to get this done a little bit quicker. I don't know. So just, I don't know if you guys would think about it, but I would love to see that happen. Yes.
Mrs. Malchow does that.
Does she really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
She has, it's like it's usually like a folder game
Uh-huh.
that's been laminated.
Uh-huh.
And that when the kids are done, they know that and each table is assigned a certain game for a certain amount of
Sure.
time. So then they rotate. But then the kids know that they can go get their tables game out
Yes.
and start, and it's usually like letter matching or it's
Right. Something educational.
but it was something quiet. So yeah, so they do it a little bit.
Then that's maybe just a little bit of
Then
higher.
you have your pros and cons of that, because like with Riley, she was trying to get done with the homework
So she didn't.
quicker
Yeah.
to get to that.
You can have that anyway, and then and then the teacher needs to address that. You know what, if I keep finding that this is happening because you're
They
rushing,
were like, slow
I'm not gonna be
down.
able to let you go over there. I might have to, take a break from that if you don't slow down just a little.
That's our incentive is when we do our seat work in kindergarten.
Uh-huh.
That once they're done with their seat work, they can go to their center that some days if they get to beginning center they want, some days they're assigned to center.
Sure.
And so that gets them to, we'll talk about that and I'll give them their work and whatever. And I'll say, when you're done at center time, and I always tell them, you have a choice. You can either have 20 minutes of center time, or you can have 5 minutes of center time.
Right.
If you want to sit and talk to your friends or sit in, then you've chosen that to be your center time.
Absolutely.
And the same thing with working fast, because I have a lot of kids that do that. And I always say, especially when we're doing our letters and they're practicing their letters, I'll give them a paper and say, now you have to write your letters 5 times. If you want to do it quickly and get up here and let me look at them and they're not your best, I have no problem with that. Because then I have this paper here that has the same letter 10 times. That they'll be able to do. Or if you want to take your
Yes.
time and do the first 5 the best that you can,
Yes.
then you're done and you get to go to centers.
Natural consequences.
Yes.
They know the end
Yes.
result.
Yep.
There's
And
no
it was their
surprises.
choice.
Yes.
And it was the choice they made. Yes.
For like dramatic play centers, you mentioned like camping center, which I thought was an awesome idea. Do you have any
Yes.
other good, fun ideas that you could share with us?
For the Dramatic Play Center, we're actually, luckily, we are going to do a whole section on that today too. So, okay. I hate to put you off, but if I
No,
know we're
that's
going to
okay.
hit it, we might as well. Yes.
Okay, I'm one of those teachers that,
One of those teachers.
I do first and second, and we do a lot of seat work, paperwork, things like that.
Sure.
The kids do get done. They do get a choice of, I do have some center activities, I have an art center, but I let them have a Lego center as well, so I have
Nice.
mainly boys all the time, and so.
Yeah. That's nice.
I have several, just not Legos, but I have those map cubes, I have,
Yes.
connecting shapes, and that's what they like to go to.
Perfect. What's that?
She has a lot of Legos.
Oh, wow.
I like what I'm hearing.
I know,
So
right?
I have a lot of them I live, my room is right above staircase, and so I have a thing that has step up on, so they don't walk above at a great parent. And then below, it's all carpeted, and I have 2 soft chairs and a lamp with a table, and they just do their schoolwork under there, or they can go read a book.
Very nice. I like that. So they have a little place to kind of get away and do their own thing. Okay.
Yeah, I let us do things like that. I let him get games out of the closet. That was just, it's also
Right. So again, so you're choosing strategic toys. You're saying you've got things that are to do with math, with your blocks, your shapes, and all that. So, yeah. So that's what we're looking for. And toys for all of the domains. I find that the subjects I like, I get a little toy heavy on those. And then I go, oh, what about my math center, right? And now math looks good because I went to a seminar and decided there were some really great things I can do with math, even though math was never my thing. My science center was like, looking good from the beginning, but okay. So making sure that we're hitting all of those domains, all those areas for our centers, and not neglecting any. And maybe it means 1 year we get, 2 things for that center because it's lacking, and then we save the money, and the next year we get another one. It's obviously not rocket science, but I feel like a lot of things that I'm saying you guys already know, but then I feel like I'm just going to throw it out just in case. So the STEM toys, oh my goodness. Does anybody have those in their rooms? I mean, now they're labeled. Some of them were STEM toys before they started calling them STEM toys. But the ones that are kind of going across some different areas here, the science, technology, engineering, math, and really going back to that whole constructive concept. And it's just getting their synapses firing, getting their brains clicking. And when you set those toys out, not necessarily telling them how to use them, see what they do with them first. And if they're struggling, they may find a great way to use them that wasn't on the directions. That's part of it, is letting them do that. But then also, if they're really asking and they're struggling, maybe just posing some questions to them. Well, what do you think if we did this? Or, what are you trying to do? What do you think? So that they're still doing the thinking, and so they're feeling confident about it. Funding ideas. So number 1, just asking. I really need a budget for some replacement toys in my room. I need that budget every year because we're going through it. And eventually, you might have a good year where not very many things get broken, and you get to go find something entirely different for your classroom. Doesn't mean you change how much the funding was, because that's your allotment, and you go ahead and do that so that you've got the right teaching tools for your kids. Another piece of that is we have, well, when we started our program, so those of you starting a program, the director back then who started it, she put out a plea to the parish, actually. She got permission from the priest, and she put out a plea to the parish. And have you ever seen at Christmas time where you have like the wishing tree or whatever for donations for people, Well, she had a tree set up in the back of the church, and it was a wishing tree for the preschool. And she, made sure the parish knew how, because we're starting this preschool, we're going to have increased enrollment in kindergarten, which means that our school is going to start to grow. This is our goal. And so it kind of got some of the parish families on board. And so she just hung a bunch of stuff on there that she wanted, and people could take something and go buy it. Or you could ask them to donate. If they prefer to just donate money for that, that would be great too, because then you can go, or gift cards to whatever teaching store you have in your area that you'd like to go buy the things there. You could tell them specifically what store if they'd like to get a gift card instead. And what this ended up looking like 13 years ago when we opened, there was a request for people to make donations towards like a sensory table, the science table in my room, and somebody just bought it outright. They didn't even go, here's $20 as a donation towards it. They bought it. And it's like, those cost like $300, And I will tell you, the one that's in my room, we just got one for Annie's room. Same brand and everything. Look at the brand on that. It's 13 years old. I lost the washer, and sometimes it leaks a little, and I have to put a bucket under it. But oh my gosh, it has held up. So anyway, sometimes you pay a little bit more for something, but it's usually worth it. But getting permission to go ahead and ask the parish. And then also funding ideas I told one group about yesterday. The $200 is really nice. Unfortunately, it's not really enough. And so I don't mean to be greedy, but I do want this for my kids. And so what we do is at the end of the school year, we have a graduation ceremony for 4- and 5-year-olds. I've often thought this would be a good thing to do with the 3-year-olds as well, just as kind of an end of the year little thing, okay? Like a memory book type of thing, you could call it, a memory video, something like that. But we take pictures in the classroom all year long. And some of them we post out in the hall, most of them we don't. We've got tons of pictures. And so at the end of at the end of the year, we send out a letter that says we've been, saving lots of pictures this year, and we're creating a memory video or graduation video, however you want to phrase it, for your child as a keepsake. And if you would like to donate $5 towards, I forget how I phrase it. It sounded better than that. But anyway, basically, each DVD is a $5 donation that will go towards toys for our classroom. And almost everybody purchases one. And then if they didn't, usually when we show the video to the parents on graduation day, before the kids all come in and sing, while they're practicing songs, the parents get to watch a video. And usually we'll get stopped on the way out and say, I didn't order that video, can I still buy one? Because they watch it and go, oh, because the music is all just lovely, and there's some tearjerker songs in there. But anyway, so there's that. We don't tell them, but often we'll make an extra DVD for that family who didn't purchase one, especially if we know somebody's struggling, and we'll just throw them in their little envelope at the end of the year that they pick up on graduation day, because it is special for the kids. But we end up, if you think about it, out of all of our preschoolers, we had 50-some who were 4- and 5-year-olds who were graduating, and at $5 each, it definitely helps. So we had a fun little spending spree right away at Lakeshore. So, okay, so we'll go. Why don't we go ahead and let's go into the classroom, and you guys can play with some of the toys. I want to show you one of the new STEM toys that I bought. So, and this is just a little slide of some of the kids played with some of the stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and head upstairs. Annie, do you want to go into all 3 rooms? What do you want to do?
I opened up and turned the air on in all 3 rooms.
Okay.
So,
well, Miss Elsasser, Miss Katie is not here today.
I think you should just go.
She's not going to care if you go play with her toys.
Just dig around all the rooms.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like why Mom said. You do it before. And then you'll sit down.
The one my sister wants is hysterical. Her daughter did. Door here at the top and one at the bottom.
Upstairs?
No, I'm not preschool, so.
Oh, what, you're for second, aren't you?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm switching back to kindergarten, but.
so I'm just gonna hang out here.
Oh, that's okay.
I'm looking at the Lakeshore online. I want some STEM activities for my grades.
Yeah.
For students.
sharp, where do you take them? Like, could you take them to a, I was thinking you know, like where they do blades for ice skates,
Yeah,
like a skate shop, I bet they could do.
they'd even cut us through 4 or 5 of these,
Wow.
that would be like construction papers.
There you go. Connie's got a new toy.
Yeah, she does, well, it's so nice, because sometimes like, oh crap.
We need blah, blah, blah.
Then she
I think
had to
this
run
would
all
be
the
good
way
in the beginning.
Yeah.
8, 10, 12, but you could have 24 kids on there at a time, I don't even do that. Plus, you could say, so-and-so fire red.
Yeah.
So-and-so
Here,
fire
put
red.
this underneath your bag so she has to remove it.
Oh, this is good, sir.
Oh, I'm for second.
Oh, that's right. Poor thing.
That's okay. I came along for second now.
Yeah.
So anyway, like,
Okay, I'm actually, I'm a librarian, so this whole preschool thing is like, what am I supposed to do? I got offered a part-time librarian position at schools, and then I said, I'm going to go. Like, okay, we're going to have to go part-time to it. Okay, and I'm part-time preschool, because I love school colleges. But I love libraries, so I'm like, I need to learn to do
yeah, I know.
so lost.
Yep. I don't need this stuff. I'm good to go.
It's like. This is kind
This is what I was talking about. Oh, theirs. Oh, that one? Oh, here.
Yeah, I just want to say.
Here. See this one. Well, and this is probably gonna be out of my own pocket.
And then I mean, but
Yeah. She didn't like us. She didn't think it was very fast.
well, I like the way these are.
No.
Yes, I'll have it.
One's not just.
Yeah.
It's 300.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, it would not have a whole lot, right?
You know, it's classroom, but it's not so much for it. I do so many things and we'll do lunch and so we'll have to do this and so that takes us so it's just, but I think I could see this being there when you don't want to use kids and and they don't have to build all this.
Doing what they want to do. So, we shall say, and we cannot do, oh, that's right, we cannot do two-year-olds. We're going to do that. That's actually really good. So, Yeah, so. People keep asking, it would be full right now if they provided after-school care. Because we have enough school families that are school, so they would be there if there's after-school care, but they both parents work, and they, so in the daycare, they go to provide after-school care, so we understand, but we have nowhere else to put
Which would be fine with me. Yes. I have 4 girls, so I don't know how to use it. Kind of like we were talking about. Are you guys
Well, we're only an hour and a half behind. Well, that's not too bad. Only an hour and a half behind. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that would be a hard one. It is. I might find out. And maybe what we need is but so
Yes.
that's great. Oh, really? Yeah. And she left. So that is pretty great. Downstairs. Okay, so you know what I'm trying to do. You know where the bathrooms are?
Yeah.
Right across the hall.
Yeah.
That is all that side. That's a breakdown. So where the stage was.
Right. Yeah.
That's the one thing I love to
I like it.
Yeah, I know this is bad. I'm like,
Well, I should have grabbed my bell lesson this time. Yeah, I was upstairs. It's here. We I don't like to. It seems kind of rusty. I like lifting.
At the schools that I go to, there's the law school elementary school, and they teach their kids when the teacher says, "Oh, cut that," then all the kids respond, "Oh, yes, yes."
Oh, that's funny.
I think it's the cutest thing.
You know what? While we wait for everybody else to come back, I'm gonna have you guys grab something. I should have done this before you left and I forgot.
It won't take a second. You bet. You got
Trying to find a bill. I got the grade.
Oh, you're not.
Well, because I got conventions and I invited graduates to show.
And I don't even
Yes, absolutely. Okay, if everybody is ready, don't have my bell.
Yep. So if they
I don't know which button she presses.
okay, so we do it.
Okay, so I did not bring my bell downstairs with me. I don't have it, sorry. So I have to yell. But if I can have everybody's attention back up here, what's that? You can just say it in like, okay, everyone. No, I have to turn on the mic. Oh, the clapping. Should I do my clapping again? Oh no, I think I got everybody. Okay. All right, so curriculum guide, assessment, records, and assessment guides. Those are all in that folder. Donna and her daughter printed them all off, and they are ready to go. This has been a process. All of these documents were created with the Early Learning Guidelines as a foundation. And what happened was back in December, Donna asked to have a committee be formed. And it ended up being like one teacher from each school. We had somebody come from St. Vincent de Paul. The director at Duchesne Academy came. I was very curious about their curriculum, so I was really excited when she showed up. We had a teacher from Our Lady Lourdes, St. Bernadette. We didn't have a teacher from Holy Cross. We actually had their principal. She came. And then I was there. So we started, the whole point was we need something for the whole consortium to be able to use as a resource if they choose to. And then it kind of turned into, since Donna's, big in the Archdiocese as well, she went, well, actually we need something that can be used for the Archdiocese eventually, okay? And so December 1st this year, or last year, we started. And we kind of had to puzzle for a while through what this looks like. Where do you even begin? And I already had a curriculum set up that I created probably my second year here, first year here, I don't know. So anyway, that I based off of the Early Learning Guidelines. So I was able to walk in with that. And then other schools were kind of using some different things, but didn't really have a curriculum that they were set on. And we all had our own sets of assessment tools. And everything had some similarities, but there were some pretty big differences too. And so everybody brought their assessment tools, and we went through them, and it was a really long process actually. And we just put our minds together, and just finally, June 16th, the assessment guide, as it was pictured from the beginning, was finally complete, thanks to Mrs. Lula. Annie is just fantastic on a computer.
I like to make worksheets.
Yes, she likes to make worksheets. I had a vision, and I kind of threw that out there, and we said, okay, this sounds like a good idea. And then we put all of our stuff together, and then I got out the guidelines again, which had changed since I created my curriculum from it years ago. Got that out again and went through all of that. And so this just finally got finalized. And poor Annie, every time she handed me the booklets, I was like, I want it to be a book. I want a book, and I want this in there, and I really would love this in there too. And she would make it, and she'd bring it to me, and I go, oh my gosh, I love it. Can we just change this?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, this is great. Bye.
But it was, and I loved it. But that's how I
That's
am.
all right.
And so, because there's also that pressure of, this is going to go archdiocese-wide. So if we're gonna do it, let's get it right. And Annie did. So thank you very much, Annie.
You're welcome.
Again, I think the
That's fine. I like it.
Annie.
Oh, that's fun. I didn't mind.
So I think it's something to behold. It has been a long process, and all of us who worked on it are very pleased that it's finished, and we're very proud. So anyway, so you have assessment tools in there. And as we were creating the assessment tool, that
Do you want me to go to the next slide?
we felt like there were some things that maybe I understood in my head how I assess it, or maybe the teacher from Holy Cross knew exactly how she used this certain assessment, but it didn't really make sense to me. Maybe the wording just didn't click right because we all think differently. And so we decided we needed a guide to go with the assessment tool. When you go through the assessment guide, you might go, oh my gosh, do they think that I'm not smart? It's just so that if there's anything, plus there's some extra little ideas in there. And because I get a little carried away. And so I typed some extra stuff in there. So hopefully pretty much everything you might need to know about the assessment itself, you can just flip that guide open as you're doing the assessment those first few kids until you get used to it, if you choose to use this. So that's pretty much it. If you ever have questions about it though, you can get a hold of Donna, you can get a hold of me. Annie could probably help you. So you can call the school or you can email us, whatever. Or if you find a mistake, let us know. I can go, Annie.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's basically it. It's been a process, but we're pleased with it, so. Okay. I guess you guys can look through that stuff on your own and just get a hold of us if you have any questions. Yes? That is a great question for Donna Bishop. I bet you, Donna, I bet you they would do that because I know they have somebody in the consortium who works on that. Do you feel comfortable getting a hold of Donna or would you like me to? Okay.
What was the question?
Can somebody translate it into Spanish? That's a very good question. Yes.
I can do that. You email me that, I can translate it back.
You can translate it? All right. I'm going to have Donna get with you.
Okay.
So, because even the document itself might be a little tricky to work with. I don't know what that's going to look like. So, okay. Because I tried to make an adjustment to the document myself, and I was like, I had to call a raccoon. And it's just one little thing, and she
Job security.
job security, she says. So, okay. All right. So, but great question. Okay. I'm writing myself a note to talk to Donna myself, but if you'll touch base with her too, just in case. This is all my notes here. Okay, let's talk. We have time to talk about health and physical development. I thought this was not my favorite. It's going to be my favorite subject. And I've been hesitating on going to the early learning guidelines class. I ended up loving this class. What were you going to say? I think it was my favorite. Oh, did we shut it down?
No, I didn't touch it.
Okay, I think it's okay. Anyway, it ended up being my favorite early learning guideline class that I went to. And I'm a science person, but this was great. And part of it was because of the teacher. She was fantastic. She was amazing. And so it was a really great experience, and she got me thinking about things differently than what I have been in the past. So briefly, so this is all in your early learning guideline. There's lots of information in there. At the back of each section, there's even a whole list of resources where you can get more information about each of those guidelines, just in case I forget. So it's a great resource. But the gross motor and large motor section on that, they'll give you lots of information. And I think the biggest thing that I took away from that was, let's get the kids outdoors a lot and let's let them climb and jump and do all of those types of things. I don't really think I need to go too far into gross motor, and you guys can read on that. The fine motor skills, though, I do have some tips for you guys. For those of you who may not have used these in this way, I guess. So here's my bear. I pointed him out yesterday, him or her, I don't know, whichever. But I'm gonna start keeping this in my motor skill center. Looks really cute with all the blocks. Kind of softens up the center. And the bear, you know, you could go to Goodwill and get a bear cheap. They've got some really good quality bears. And the clothes I bought at the Goodwill also. I just tested out the snaps and the buttons and zippers and made sure they're easy enough for my kiddos to use. But I use this when I do my assessments because I found that the ones that you can buy that are on a board, they broke easily. And I was really frustrated. And then the ones that were like I had one that was a little lammy thing. The buttons were really oversized. And the zipper wasn't a real zipper. It's like zipper on a pants, and that's fine. But by the time our kids leave our 4- and 5-year-old class, we actually want them to be able to zip up a jacket. And it's better if you could just assess them leaving the room if they wore a light jacket that day and go, hey, Johnny zipped up his own coat today. Who else can do it? And then you know if they can do it or not. You can mark it on your assessments. Make yourself a list. Carry around a clipboard. It just makes the assessments easier. But anyway, so this little guy, in case someone wasn't wearing a jacket, he's wearing a jacket that you can zip. So instead of just having to sit with me at assessment time, he's going to sit at my motor skills center now so that kids can actually practice on him. So there's that. Other things as far as fine motor skills. Scissors. So we actually send home homework for kids. Yeah, it's very controversial.
The 3s get homework too.
Yes, the 3s do too.
The 3s get homework optional.
Yes. Oh, 4s and 5s are optional
Yeah.
too. Yeah. So it's completely optional to have homework.
They like
Here, they do like it. And the parents end up loving it. Here's how it started. Even though there are some schools, K through 8, who are saying homework is bad. Everybody's got their own philosophy on that. But I don't always jump on the bandwagon. And so my sister, her son went to a private school in California. Very expensive, very expensive. And I have a daughter, my nephew's age, they're the same age. And they were in preschool at the time. Now they're 16 now and driving. But I remember being a little jealous because my daughter was coming home saying all we did was play, play, play. Because she was that girl. She was that kid. And my boys were not like that, but she was. She's the youngest. My nephew was bringing home homework, and I was checking out the homework, and I'm like, this is age appropriate. These concepts match. This is right. Why doesn't my child get to do this? I might have been one of those parents that pushed too hard. I don't know. But she is very successful. But the thing is, she wanted to do it. She was asking at home for stuff like that because her brothers, they were doing it. So I was a little jealous, and I thought, well, I can do that. So when I was asked to teach in the preschool, I dug out some of those books that you can get at just the learning stores, just the little ones that don't have copyright issues, right, that you're allowed to make photocopies from. And we do them on full. I blew them up. They were those little half books. I blew them up and made full sheets. I decided that's probably not a good idea. Save a little paper, not as big a coloring areas for those poor kids. Keep it small. But anyway, so we do homework, and it's based on whatever our color, number, shape, and letters are that we're working on, okay? And we do like maybe 4 pages, maybe 5. They have a whole week to get it done, and they don't have to do it. The letter that goes out at the beginning of the year is very kind and very loving, in that if you would like homework for the 3s, please let us know, or else we're not going to send it. If you would like it for a 4 and 5-year-old, we're going to go ahead and send it. Let us know if you don't want it, and we'll stop. No big deal. And what we found was, even though it was controversial, we found that the kids, the weeks where we didn't have a full week of school, didn't have a letter of the week, and I didn't send homework, the kids would come in and go, Mrs. Howard, where's my homework? They wanted it. Some of the kids don't, and that's fine, but most of them do. It's really interesting. Our kindergarten teachers don't actually do homework here. And so then they're kind of like, yeah. And it's not just busy work. We're not just doing busy work. And I do it backwards. I forget there's an actual term for it. It's kind of a theory in homework. I do it backwards. I'm going to call it backwards. I sent home, along with that letter, it explains it to the parents. I sent it home as a preview of what we're going to be doing. And so, because I'm trying to encourage my parents to be their first teacher, right? So there's that concept. I want my parents involved with their kids' learning. They're their most important teacher. they're going to be with them forever. They're going to be guiding them. Let's start now. And so they're the first teacher. So I say this is just a really great opportunity for you to get the chance and have an excuse to sit down with your child. And so they work on things like a little phonics cutting sheet. So that's why I was talking about scissors. That's what got me thinking about it, is in their school supply list, I asked them to please purchase a pair of child-sized scissors. I recommend Fiskars, but they can get whatever they want to be kept at home for their homework, okay? And so they do the homework at home with them, and they really like it. So it's just an option that you can do. But just make sure that it's not just busy work. Have it pertain to what we're actually going to be learning. And then what happens is when my kids have done their homework and then they come into the classroom and sit on the rug, and I say, okay, so who can tell me something that's in the letterbox? And the hands go up. A lot of times they actually do know because they already worked on that letter with their parents. We sent it home on Friday, and they can bring it in as late as Wednesday, just so it's easier for me to correct. But they get it on Friday, and then on Monday, we start that new concept. So the kids already come in feeling kind of like, hey, I know that, I got this, or at least they've seen it. So it's not brand new. I like doing the homework backwards. I like it to be a preview. Anyway, so scissors, with fine motor skills, I wanted to talk about that. Some of the kids have a really hard time on knowing how to hold the scissors. And a really nice little cheat, the old director of the program taught me this. You guys have probably done it before, but so obviously your thumb goes in the top and your fingers go in the bottom. And when you're cutting, that's how you're going to hold it, right? Your thumb is on top, okay? But the kids get all confused and they twist and they triangle like this, and then they maybe get the wrong hole and it's not going to work right because your blade's not the right way anymore. So she said, put a little smiley face on the top so that when they look at it and they're cutting, their scissors are smiling at them. And if their scissors are not smiling at them, then they're not holding them the right way. Okay, I don't know. So there's just a tiny little smiley face right there in the permanent marker. I got some new scissors, so if you were to peek through my scissors upstairs, they're not all marked. Another reminder for me, something that I need to do. This program's been great for me. Okay, the other thing about scissors, if you have a child who keeps on flipping and they're going like this, all you need to do is stand behind them and gently say, okay, when you're cutting, oh, I love the way you're holding your scissors. You have your thumb in the right place. You can see the smiley face. Hey, let's do this. Let's tuck your elbows into your sides. Softly, go ahead and if they're having trouble, just, okay, so put your elbows in like this. And when their elbows are in at their sides, they can no longer flip their scissors around the wrong way. Okay? So the elbows tucked in. I learned that this year and I went, oh my gosh. Because I had a child who had a physical therapist coming into my room. And she was watching and she goes, oh, just have him do this. Are his elbows tucked in? And I went, nobody ever told me you could have them tuck their elbows in. It solves a lot of problems. Okay. My other thing about scissors is you're probably going to get a lefty at some point. Okay. And some people think it's okay to just give them a right-handed pair of scissors. I did it for years. I didn't realize that when you give a child that and then they're trying to hold them, they can hold them, but their blade is facing the wrong way. And so it kind of rips the paper. And you start to think that maybe they're just not very good at cutting. It's just tearing the paper because your blade is not right, okay? So that lefty needs a left-handed pair of scissors. And I wrote left on them because they look too much like the other ones. But the funny thing was, my other preschoolers, they knew, because I'd say, oh, wait, no, those are the ones that Sebastian needs to use because he's left-handed. So can I get those back from you? After that, the kids are like, oh, no, those are the ones Sebastian uses. And they would hand him his scissors. So Sebastian didn't mind getting the extra attention.
I could see them like
Some kids might, but he didn't. Okay, whoops.
They made them now.
I don't know. I just bought more left-handed scissors this year from a catalog, so
You can't buy them in the store.
they might. They might. If they do, that's awesome. I don't know if you can buy them in the store or not.
I had like 5 lefties.
Yeah. Yeah. I ordered mine through, what do we use? Is it Discount School Supply that we use? Discount School Supply is where I ordered mine. Okay. The other fine motor skill or tool is this one. I had a little girl who for the first time, no matter how many times I tried to help her hold her crayon the right way or her marker, the whole year, she never got it. And I would just gently, oh, hey, let's turn it the right way. Let's hold that the right way. Didn't work. And you can get all kinds of pencil grips that help with that. But Katie had these. And the reason that I love this one, not only because it made Gracie very happy, and Gracie had big smiles because I didn't have to tell her anymore. I didn't have to remind her. She was so proud when she put these on her fingers and could hold it the right way. And shame on me, I didn't do it until the end of the school year. So, okay, the thing I love about this, I'm gonna walk around with it, or maybe Annie, would you? Sure. But there's a hole in the middle of this one that stretches. So some of them that you can get, most of them that you can fit on a pencil, but what about your little kiddo who's using crayons most of the time? I use small crayons with my kids. I found that most of them don't need a big fat crayon. They just don't. Most of them can use the little skinny one. I can fit a little skinny crayon right in there, and then they can use it for their crayon. So I just will have that set aside. You might need to buy a few of them, but at least when Gracie was practicing writing her name, maybe not when she was coloring, because I'd have to keep switching this out for her. And I'm not gonna have a whole set, they're not that cheap. But at least when she was writing her name with her crayon, I could put one of these on for her, or just keep a crayon to the side for her.
We want to just start it.
Yeah, you guys can just pass it around.
Is there a specific name for that?
I don't know. I got it in Lakeshore.
They're on the Lakeshore counter.
Yes.
Right now.
Yeah, I found other teacher stores and didn't see them, but I
I wish
did.
I would have had that with my daughter. She's a seventh grader now.
I had to buy 8 triangle pencils.
Yes.
I worked with an OT a lot being a special education teacher,
Okay.
or I used to.
Right.
When your daughter was doing her.
Yes.
But we use paper clips, or not paper clips, clothespins, like those.
Okay.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just clip them onto the pencil, and then they have to hold with these 2 fingers.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it works like way better than everything.
I'm a hands-on kind of gal. I gotta try this.
I know.
That's okay. They're all sun based.
Do you have a thin pen?
I saw somebody, somebody.
You can do it with any pen, like my friend.
So, yeah.
So I just put it here, and then when she's holding it, she has to hold her 2
Somebody
fingers
just taught me
here.
that here too. Why didn't I know that when my daughter?
Yeah.
All right.
She's a seventh grader.
And you can put a pom-pom in her hand. Yeah, it's just so they remember that.
Are you guys, is everybody hearing this? Because I think this is really good. So even if you hold a pom-pom in your hand, it's gonna force you to do it the right way. Very cool.
Yeah.
So they're holding on to something.
All right, and Handwriting Without Tears has a song about how to hold your pencil the right way. Okay.
Through Handwriting Without Tears, and you can go on their website and you can look it up for free, because before I even bought the program, I have little snippet videos that you can just look.
Okay, awesome. Very good. I will do that because I'm intrigued by them. Okay. All right, well,
We have 5
our
minutes.
lunches are here. We've got 5 minutes. All right, so on this with your motor skills, the biggest thing is giving them lots of opportunities to practice their fine and large or gross motor skills. Give them lots of opportunities. Even your friend who doesn't want to sit down and do that type of work. Like I said yesterday, we do some worksheets because we want them to know how to hold their pencil right and write their name and all that. We don't do it all the time. We do it probably once, twice a week though. Just so they've got that exposure and that practice. There's so many ways they can develop their fine motor skills. I don't think it hurts to do a little writing as well. So, and then, yeah, when they can do those things on their own and don't give up, they get that confidence that I can do it attitude. So we're going to be talking about nutrition and these things after lunch, just because they're kind of cool and I don't want to rush through it. And we'll get back on track, hopefully. Hopefully we'll get done with everything like we did yesterday. I think we'll make it. So let's go ahead and have our lunch break and, yeah.